Chapter 23. On the 21st of March, 1968, Bullitt turned 18. He officially withdrew from school, first thing. Then he went down to Patrice's. There, drinking coffee and eating a freshly baked roll, he told Patrice what he wanted. "I've got $700 and I want to buy the 14-footer, with the motor." "You think I don't know this? You think there was any other reason for me to paint her red? But I will give her to you, my friend, with the motor." Bullitt shook his head. He took out his wallet and pulled out bills. Patrice's ugly face looked worried. "I hoped you would let it be a gift." "It's not for me," Bullitt said. "It's for my mother, and if I buy it for her with money I've earned, then I can really give it to her." "Well, of course, if that's how you understand it. You won't need the money yourself? In the Army?" "Nah." "May I ask you a question?" Bullitt shrugged. He slathered butter onto a roll and bit into it, crunching the crust. "Your hair or your head," Patrice started to say. Bullitt laughed. "They're going to make me grow it." That amused Patrice. "One other thing," Bullitt said. "There's someone you could hire, if you need someone to work with." "You know I need someone. He is a friend?" Bullitt shook his head. "No, I haven't talked to the guy since before Thanksgiving. Not a friend, he's a runner. He's black." "I'm not prejudiced. It is you who are prejudiced, my friend, not I." Bullitt got up to pour himself more coffee. "Not the way I used to be." "Bring the pot to the table," Patrice told him. Then he asked, "How then?" Bullitt shrugged. "The idea is too speculative?" "Yeah, maybe." He did, however, want to try to say it. "You are what you are, and it's what you are that counts." Patrice couldn't puzzle that out. "But that is no change. That is how you always felt." "Yeah, but didn't I know it?" "But I didn't know it," Bullitt admitted. He set the coffee pot on the table and sat down. "So you will send this black man to me?" "I'll give him your name. If he wants to, he'll come talk to you. He can work. He needs a good job." "This is not a good job. There is no future in it, and little amusement." "It's a good job," Bullitt said. He rowed the little boat around and tied it up at the end of the dock, cocking the motor forward to keep the blades out of the water. He didn't know how long it would ride there unnoticed. Nobody had said anything to him about the clumsy cradle he'd built in the barn last December, nor about the way he'd hauled Johnny's boat up to the barn, dismasted it, stowed the sails under the deck. He had even, knowing that it needed only a rough hand, scraped off the barnacles that the years in the water had grown. Some of them were as big as his thumb. Bullitt jogged up the path through the marsh grass, heading for the house. He almost expected O.D. to appear out of the grasses, almost turned his head to see her, almost listened for her. It was funny what you remembered. The old man wasn't in the house at that hour, and his mother was washing the kitchen floor. She used a scrub brush and worked on her hands and knees, her skirt soggy at the hem where it got in her way. "Mama?" She wasn't surprised to see him. Her face was quiet as she put the brush back into the bucket, sat back onto her heels, and looked at him. "I'm going." "I thought so," she said. Her eyes were dark and unreadable, and her voice flat. "Happy birthday. Did you enlist?" "How'd you know?" "It makes sense," she said. He hunkered down until his eyes were level with hers. Nobody said it wasn't going to hurt. He was willing to bet it had hurt Liza too. "Listen," he said, "you want to come with me?" "What would I do in the Army?" Bullitt shrugged. She was right. It would just be another box. It was going to be just another box for him, too, but he'd figured it out. You didn't get out of one box without getting into another, and you didn't get out without it costing you. For himself, he was just looking for a box that fit him. For her, what was he hoping to do was just loosen a board or two for her. It was up to her what she did about that. Something was squeezing at his heart, and words were strangling in his throat. "I've been thinking," he said. "You remember that birthday party?" "Eleanor Brown's?" "Yeah, I remember. I remember you not wanting to go. I remember driving all the way back along the highway to pick up the clothes you took off." A reluctant smile moved across her face. "How you got them out the back of the truck without us noticing, I never knew." "One at a time," he told her. "I leaned way over so they wouldn't blow up into the view in the mirror." And I remember how you looked when we came around to get you out and you were just—" Bullet waited. "Bare naked and laughing." She laughed then, and he joined in. "Anyway," he said, "I owe you an apology. And Liza, too, because she was looking forward to that party, but she'd not around to hear it. I shouldn't have done that." "Oh, I don't know," his mother said. "It always seemed to me there wasn't anything else you could have done, being you." "Yeah," he agreed. She could read him and he could read her. He leaned forward and kissed her cheek. "So," she said after a minute, looking at him while he got up, "what can I do for you before you go?" That was her way of saying goodbye. His way, he had thought hard about it. He knew she wouldn't take the boat, or the $100 he left in the top drawer of his bureau for gas and oil. She wouldn't take them just like that, like presents. He knew if he tried to give them to her while he was leaving, that would be hard on her. After he was gone, well, his father would do what he always did, pretend nobody had ever been here, and that would at least be easier on her. But he'd thought about how to make sure she knew he wanted her to have the boat. "I'm all packed and everything. I've taken everything I want. Whatever I've left behind is for you, okay?" He was thinking of the boat, the $100, and the farm. "What would I do with what you've left behind?" she demanded. "Maybe you'll think of something, maybe not, but it's for you, you hear me?" "I hear you, boy," she said, getting back to her bucket of water. His carry-all in his hand, Bullet jogged down the driveway. He'd need to find Tamar at lunch, then he'd get the 1 o'clock bus. The fields stretched away on either side of him, and he stopped at the end of the driveway to look back at them. He'd new-harrowed the fields, and they were ready now to take the crops he wouldn't harvest from them. Tough luck, and he had known what it would cost, but he let his eyes run over them, over the lumpy surface of them. He wanted to keep connected to himself as much as he could. He wanted to be sure he could take with him whatever memory could carry.